If you're feeling the vibe, then hit the like button or subscribe. And today we are on episode 39. That's right, 39 of the OG podcast. And today I'm your co-host, Andy Kilham, along with my other co-host.
OG Crunkster.
And I'm sorry for the little bit of weirdness. I was actually reading the chat, making sure that the stream key was working because it just did something a little weird. I'm late. I'm sorry due to technical difficulties. So again, I apologize.
Was it this time?
It wasn't OG, even though OG was stuffing his face. I'm just saying. All of a sudden, like I didn't even have
Still
my.
is stuffing his face, actually.
Well, the funny thing about it was, is I didn't even know you were in the Discord, and I had my headset off my head. All of a sudden, I hear like all this crunching, and it was a tinfoil, and I was like, "What the heck?" And I was like, "Hello?" And you're, I was like, "No." Then I was like, "You must be eating chips," and you're all, "Close, tacos," because that's what it sounded like. I thought it was chips, but that was pretty funny. It was hilarious.
Glad I could make you laugh.
Yes, definitely needed after the problems with OBS, but we won't get into that just quite yet. So, OG Crunkster, how is your week, man?
In my opinion, pretty eventful, despite not actually going anywhere over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I got a lot accomplished. For example, I actually did 3 videos this week. One on Thursday, which is my episodic thing for 7 nights, and then I did 2 on Sunday. One for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which I thought was super hype because like some things happened that I didn't even expect. I wasn't even planning it, and it just worked out, and I got so excited.
I
And
have
my
yet to
hype was
watch that
kind of
one yet.
okay. Yeah, and after I was so excited, I ended up doing my Heroes Charge video, and I was already hyped because of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Video, so I was all excited doing the Heroes Charge one. So there was just a lot of energy on Sunday when I was recording, and it just felt great. It was so good. And this weekend was San Japan. For those who remember, I advertised it last week. I didn't go, but of course, I have friends who cosplay and do all kind of stuff. So obviously, they went, and I got a lot of pictures and really cool stuff happened over there. I don't know all the details yet because I haven't actually talked to them, but
Mm.
hopefully, I'll actually get with them this coming weekend to say, hey, so what exactly happened? Because there are some things that a friend of mine was working on for a store, and I want to see if that was successful. So I'll give you that
Nice.
story next week once we do the next episode.
Dun dun
Um,
dun.
exactly. Spoiler alert. Anyway,
Anyway.
basically, other than that, I've been doing a lot of chilling. Final Fantasy 15, A New Empire had its first Realm versus Realm, which is like server versus server event.
Hmm.
I have some interesting mixed feelings about it, and I'll explain that in one of my subjects later on today. Because there was a good idea, but I think they screwed up horribly in its application at a certain point. We'll get into that later. Um, there's actually a lot of Final Fantasy 15 related stuff I got to talk about later, so you'll be getting that later on in the episode.
Nice,
And then
nice.
my girlfriend asked me some really interesting questions over the week. Like the first question she asked, which was an easy one, she asked me what was the very first video game you ever played, which for me was Super Mario Bros. For NES.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
she asked me a question that was actually difficult for me to answer at first. She was like, "So I know you have a lot of games that you really like, but what was the very first game you absolutely fell in love with? A game that had
Ooh.
so much hype to you, a game that was so much fun that you got to just play the crap out of it, regardless of what the situation was." And honestly, I had a hard time answering that question because at first I was like, well, I did enjoy Final Fantasy, but it really wasn't one of those games. Even as much as I love the Final Fantasy series in general, it wasn't really the most hype for me. And I was like, well, dang, I'm not even really sure what to say. And then eventually I just started talking about games I like, and then boom, it dawned on me. Perfect Dark for N64.
Yeah.
That was actually
Yeah.
the one game that just had everything it's seen. And I think we talked about this in a previous episode where, just all the different game modes you can do, like the regular campaign itself, the 2-player co-op, the 4-player co-op for challenge mode, having like 8 simulants with all kinds of different personalities. Like it was the shooter game that, in my opinion, no other shooter game has even touched yet.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that they've done all in one game that no other game has done. Like they do bits and pieces, but no one's been able to do Perfect Dark's formula, which is fantastic. It makes it a one of a kind masterpiece. So for any of you who do still have an N64, have never played Perfect Dark, I think it still holds good to this day. Give it a shot, you know.
Hmm.
Really, really, really fantastic game. But it just got me thinking, and I kept thinking of all these games. Like, what was it? A Mario game? Was it a Final Fantasy game? And believe it or not, the very first game that I really, really, really fell in love with after playing it was actually Perfect Dark for N64. So that was interesting for her to bring that up and make me actually think about it for a while.
Yeah, you actually had me thinking about it too when you asked that question or when you were talking about it. And to be honest, I would have to say like that's dead on the nail. I think I still play that game to this day. For those that don't know,
Mm-hmm.
I have the original in the N64 version. I have it, but I have it on the Xbox One. So I still play it from time to time
Cool.
just to go into that throwback. And to elaborate what you were saying, there's still no game that has done what Perfect Dark has done. Not one.
Mm.
Not one. And
Yeah,
I'll
it
be
really sets the standard. It really
yeah,
does.
and I don't understand. I don't understand why not. You know, they really need to. I feel like where games are today, there really needs to be a game like Perfect Dark. But you know, I know when Perfect Dark Zero came out, it failed miserably. But
Oh
I
yeah.
I would like to say, can we get come on Rimware? Can we give it one more shot? Can we give it one more shot? And can we like give it to PlayStation, or can we give Xbox one more try? But preferably, let's go to PlayStation. You know, I'll explain why later in my segment. Why I'm like really starting to lean more towards PlayStation than anything. To where like it's like almost like if I didn't play with certain people on Xbox, and I'm talking about like one of them might being my favorite streamers, I would probably get rid of my Xbox. That's where I'm at
Oh
right.
wow.
That's where I'm at right now.
That means something.
Yeah, because Xbox is where it all started for me. But yeah, I'm pretty much to that point. Um, but man, yeah, I would totally, definitely agree with you on that, man. Perfect Dark is the shizballs. Um,
Sure is.
is that the rest of your week, bud?
Oh, that was it. Yeah, I know it was more than normal, but yeah, that was my
Yeah, I
week.
was
I
just making
promise.
sure. Just making sure. So I've had a pretty eventful week. For those that know, Tuesday, my wife started training over in Austin, so I've been all by myself for like pretty much most of the week. I was actually supposed to go visit her today, but I kept telling her, I was like, you never know. It's like you don't know the situation just yet. So I was like, I'm not canceling anything because you never know. They might say you have a last minute meeting, and lo and behold, she had a meeting she has to go to tonight. So I am here. Um, and then the rest of my week, I finally figured out my lag issue, figured out my cable issue, and ironically enough, even though they found discrepancies in my modem and discrepancies outside, and they gave me a new modem, it was still doing it. Ironically enough,
Wow.
ironically enough, it wasn't my internet. It was my network adapter in my PC, in my new PC. Um,
Mm.
Without going into too much detail, because I've already made a YouTube video about it, showing how to fix the problem and relieve of the problem. You pretty much got to go into a setting. With these like newer computers, it has your network adapter set to an auto function, which if your bit rate, if your internet gets to a certain um like speed, it automatically shuts off and then it
Mm.
reconnects. And that's where I was at. So I had
Okay.
I had to turn that off. Um
Mm.
Another thing that's happened this week, I played the beta for the Xbox One. Oh my god. I'm not going to go into much detail because, again, that's one of my segments. But I feel sorry for you people that do not have a PS4 and you just played the beta on the Xbox One. I feel sorry for you guys. I feel like you guys were misled. I feel like you guys didn't get a true feeling of the beta. And please do not judge the beta by the Xbox version. That's all I'm gonna say for right now. It was that bad. And my paddles came in from Amazon that I ordered for my PlayStation, my PS4. So for those that don't know, you know how everybody has these SCUF controllers, and they're like $260 something, right? And it's a full custom controller. And basically what these paddles are basically for like first person shooters, where it puts like buttons in the back of your controller. So basically you can jump and do extra functions without taking your hand off the aim stick, which is pretty cool. Well, I found a contraption that where you don't have to make a whole new custom controller. It's called the Collective Minds Dominator FPS. And basically what it does is it automatically attaches to your controller. Well, not automatically, you gotta attach it. But instead of buying a whole new controller and making a custom controller, it attaches to your already existing PS4 controller and puts the paddles on the back of your controller. Guess how much it cost me?
How much?
$40.
$40.
$40. And I didn't. And the paddles are magnetic, so if the paddle breaks, I can easily replace the paddle. And it comes with some more features. It comes with mods. Not necessarily using mods are not really permitted, but I'm not gonna lie, I did use some of them. You know, just to have fun, just to test it out. And I will be giving my review on it in this podcast. For those that don't know what mods are, let's say some of the mods are like rapid fire, stuff like that. Stuff to enhance your controller to make you more of a beast on the game, apparently. But it's not really permitted. But I'm not gonna lie, some people do use them. And now that I have it, and now that I know how cheap it is to get it, because you can buy this at your local GameStop. And not only do they have it for the PS4, but they have it for the Xbox One. So I'm almost certain that people are using these. Now, you can use the paddles without using the mods. They have a tournament mode and they have a mod mode. So you know, can't just be like, oh, well then don't get the paddles. No, you can get the paddles without using the mods, and you can use the mods without, or you can use the paddles without using the mods. So there you go. And that's been pretty much my week so far. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you go ahead and get into your first chunk of journalism or stories.
Journalism. I'm about to say I'm not much of a writer, but I can do some research. So a while back, and I don't know if it's actually been on the Twitch podcast, but I know what I say when we were doing the YouTube version strictly, I had mentioned that a few years back there was a 3-way lawsuit. It was basically Blizzard was suing Lilith Games. At the same time, Lilith Games was suing Ucool. Now, the reason that I even brought up the whole thing is because Ucool is the masterminds behind the game that I do a lot of videos on, which is Heroes Charge. So when I first heard they were getting sued, a lot of people on our servers were kind of, you know, afraid that the game was going to go down and that, you know, we wasted all this time and all this other stuff. Well, a recent update, I guess back in 2016, Blizzard's case got dismissed against Lilith Games. Apparently, despite how big the company is, they were not able to provide enough evidence that anything that Lilith Games did strictly belonged to them, that was patented, copyrighted, anything like that.
Really?
Yes, there was. They actually could not get proof, any proof at all, that Lilith Games did anything to them. Now, even though their case has been dismissed, and there have been a few additions now, apparently, because they're trying to go other routes, so there is still a chance that they could reopen the case if they were to revisit it and look at all their patents and stuff. But apparently, according to what the article is stating, and I've read multiple articles, so it wasn't just one source, but apparently, either Blizzard didn't come correct, or they just don't have a case in general. So
Hmm.
it's really interesting. Now, even though their case has been dismissed, Lilith Games is still to this day trying to sue Ucol over Heroes Charge, because their game Heroes Charge and Lilith's game that they have, a lot of the game characters are very similar looking.
Interesting.
As a Yes, as a matter of fact, the big 2.0 release of Heroes Charge, when they redid some of the character designs, some that I don't like, some that I do like. Part of the reason they did that was to potentially um, stop the lawsuit from happening altogether. Well, at least this is my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because some of the characters did look very similar. So they changed up some of the heroes. They even did the hero that was the big part of their advertisement when they first advertised themselves on the Super Bowl. For those who don't know, the Super Bowl a few years back was actually where they first advertised and launched Heroes Charge. I want to say it was back in like 13 or
I
14 or
think I
something like
remember
that.
that. I think I remember that. I think it was like.
Yeah.
I think I remember the commercial. I think I
Yeah,
do.
there was a commercial that originally aired during the Super Bowl, which is the best time to advertise any commercial, because the Super Bowl is known for its commercials. Some people only watch the Super Bowl for
I
its
do.
commercials.
I do. To be honest with
See?
you, I haven't seen like the last few Super Bowls. I really didn't care about the actual game itself. I
Right.
was watching it for the commercials, and I might add, not only is it the best time to have your commercial aired and stuff, but it's also the most expensive.
Oh yeah, it is. You bet that their station's gonna make lots of money off of your
Yeah,
commercials.
yeah.
So
I think
yeah,
I think
but
for
for them it's worth it, because they
I,
know there's gonna be a lot of people
yeah, I
watching.
was gonna say I think the last time I checked, I could be wrong, but for like 30 seconds commercial spot, I think it's like 10 million, 20 million, something
That's a
like
lot
that.
of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it seems like, as far as the lawsuit against Youthful, which is the creators of Heroes Charge, for what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like Lilith Games will have a leg to stand on, because the way that they're arguing it is, character design, but they haven't really patented any character designs. There's no saying whose design belongs to anyone. No one has actually specifically claimed rights to any designs for characters, and I don't know if you even can do that to some degree. I mean, unless it's like a big like cartoon or something like that, or
Hmm.
and not cartoon like anime, but you know how they have children's programs that are specific or whatever.
I mean,
You
unless it's
know,
like a big yeah. Like. Sorry. I'm sharing the podcast on Twitch and Facebook. Go
no,
ahead.
you're good.
Go ahead. Go
But
ahead.
yeah, I mean, not only is you can't really, you just can't claim it. So it seems like Lil the Games is not going to really have a leg to stand on against Cole, even though they're still trying and trying and trying. But there's just no grounds really to sue. It's just really difficult to sue a company over something that you technically don't have full rights and patents over, especially if you were being sued for the same thing. If a big time company was told no, I think a small time company, or a smaller time company, I should say, is also going to be told no, because it's pretty much the same thing, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, and it's crazy. I don't know, like, and this kind of goes on to the story that I'm gonna go on to, too. It's like I I I don't necessarily think that it's. I think it all stands on how the judge and the jury feels. I know it's not to a judge, or I mean a jury, but when I share this next story, you'll see why I understand, because I just feel like sometimes the troll sometimes just wins just because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even though that person like really didn't make no sense or whatever, like, you know what? This is a big time company. Let's just sock it to them. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I don't know, man. I don't know, and that's the whole thing. Like, I think, in my personal opinion, I think that I almost think that when it comes to gaming and stuff like that, I feel like it almost needs its almost different type of jurisdiction, or well, not the jurisdiction, like its own, like another, like a different type of judge, a different type of I wouldn't say law, but like someone to that oversee it, that just oversees that stuff. Because think about it, right? Let's think about it, right? Let's say, for instance, ironically, let's say we take the case to Judge Judy, and she's not gonna understand it. You know what I mean? She's not gonna understand the the similarities and the non-similarities of a game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you take it to somebody that knows gaming and stuff like that. I think it's a different. I think you would get a different an outcome. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I do. And honestly, when it comes to games, it's really hard to determine what's worth suing for because, and especially in the mobile gaming industry, a lot of the games are pretty much have the same basic skeletal structure. They just have different skins attached to them.
That's
Like
yeah.
for all of the RPGs that I play, which is what basically most of my videos are,
Mhm.
um, a lot of them have the same concept of you have X amount of characters you can collect. You have to get them to X amount of stars. You have to give them so much equipment to level up their color and get up to a certain number level to make them better. And pretty much they're all the same. They're all like that. You know, you want this 5-star character or a 6-star character, depending on the game. You know, you want their color to be red or orange or whatever the case may be. You know, it's really the same concept. They just have to come up with, you know, different character designs, a different like theme, you know, whatever the case may be to make it look different. But at the end of the day, to
It's
some
the
degree,
same
it's all
shit.
the same.
It's the
It
same
really
shit. It
is.
really
Like the
is.
only reason that I like certain games over others is not necessarily because of that skeletal structure. It's more like what they do in its content. How often do they do updates? How does it actually look? You know what I mean? That there are lots of specific nitpicky things that you have to use to determine if this particular mobile RPG is worth your time. You
Yeah,
know?
definitely. It's like it's. I mean, it's the same thing with. I mean, it's the same thing with streamers too. I mean, you have, let's say you have like 50 million people streaming Overwatch, right? The same
Yeah.
content, same thing. But the most people that are gonna get the most viewers are gonna be the ones that interact, the ones that are on every day. So yeah, I totally
Mm.
understand that. But and I totally agree with you. Like, there's no reason why Candy Crush should be suing the rest of these other companies that have these other jelly games. You know how many other
You're
jelly
right.
candy games there are? But
Oh,
it's
there's tons of them.
but it's like they're just picking and choosing their battles. I feel like they're like, you know what, they don't need it. They already know they're not gonna over succeed Candy Crush. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I totally agree. But I just feel like there needs to be like a someone that's more informative about gaming and how games work, because like I don't understand, like, and I'll go ahead and slide into my next story.
Mm.
um Nintendo lost in a lawsuit against them, against a company called I something, I can't remember. um Basically, they got sued over their Wii remotes, because apparently it's the same technology as what's in their Wii remotes, but they weren't using their technology for gaming. They were using the technology to for it detects when somebody falls, because when somebody falls, it would do something. I think it
It's
would,
like
like,
life alert kind of a thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like kind of a life alert kind of thing. Well, they said, "Oh, Nintendo ripped us off. They stole our technology," and they sued Nintendo for $10 million. They got
That's rough.
they got double that. I think they got 24 million.
Mm.
and then and they said, and Nintendo's appealing it, and what Nintendo's trying to say is, you know, hey, this wasn't used for gaming. It was totally used for a different thing. We used ours for gaming and different purposes. It's not a copyright infringement because we're not doing the same exact thing. And I agree, but this is why I feel like that if somebody more informative in the gaming world would have been like a judge or something, I feel like Nintendo wouldn't have lost that money.
Like this should be like a gaming lawyer, so to speak, or a gaming judge,
Right.
someone who literally just studies the ins and outs of gaming in general when it comes to game development, game creation, you know, keeping track of patents, things like that, to determine if anything's even worth suing for, and if so, you know, how much and all of that. Because you're right, a lot of these judges, they really don't know gaming well enough. I mean, they know enough about law in general, but gaming is a whole new world.
Right.
So it's a bit different, and what makes this weird is a non-gaming company suing a gaming company.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the judge, I guess, could step in and is like, well, you know, they're two different things, so let's try to apply the law the best they can. I mean, it's just like when the World Wildlife Federation sued the World Wrestling Federation because WWE used to be WWF, but apparently the World Wildlife Federation had that first. So that's when WWF had to change their logo to World Wrestling Entertainment instead of Federation because of that potential lawsuit. It's crazy. Even though there were two completely different like types of companies, the letters literally determined, forcing a big company like WWE to have to change their name.
And to be honest with you, the WWE has not been the same since they got the F out. I'm just saying.
That's actually true. It actually has gotten worse since. Now, I'm not trying to say necessarily that was why it got worse. I mean, I think it got worse for different reasons. But it is kind of a funny little trivia thing that it did start going downhill ever since. You know,
ever since they got the F out, they really got the F out because
they really did.
They are non-existent. And here's the funny thing, I didn't know this, but Nintendo got sued by somebody that used to work by PlayStation, and because over the 3DS, and they lost like over $30 billion, and then 1 point something other million for every 3DS sold.
That's nuts.
And then here's another story. They're up for another lawsuit by a mobile company because apparently this mobile company is saying that Nintendo stole their idea or their patent for the way that those controllers slide on the side.
For the Switch?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And guess how far they're going? They don't want money. If they win, it stops discontinuing of the Switch. They can no longer sell the Switch.
If that actually goes through, that's gonna kill Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like straight up. I mean, because now you're hitting Nintendo where it hurts. Because I mean, this is where Nintendo strives and is way above any other gaming company. Sony, Microsoft, all of them together. Like Nintendo has the handhelds, and yeah, if someone could strip that from Nintendo, like that would cripple them hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's nuts. I would really hate to see the Switch not be able to sell any more, systems, because I mean it's a really good thing. There's a lot of people that love the idea, that are playing lots of the games, they're playing together. I mean, the Switch has done good things, and now there's a small chance that you may not see it no more.
I know.
Of course, we'll wait and see what happens, because I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. And if you think about it, like Nintendo, those two lawsuits I mentioned right there are pretty major, and the fact that they lost those, and now here's the problem. So when this goes to a judge, I don't know if it has already or whatever, they're gonna automatically see that Nintendo's lost 2 copyright infringement lawsuits. Right?
Oh yeah, the pattern is what could make them lose. Not
And
necessarily the concept,
not yeah,
but
not
because there
necessarily
is
the
a pattern.
pattern. And then not only that, and this is where I feel like why the mobile company decided to file the lawsuit is because they're like, oh well, hey, this nobody company that's like nobody even knows about just won $10 million from Nintendo. We might have a shot.
Right. So like everybody's like suing the crap out of Nintendo
Nintendo.
now. They're
Yeah,
like, well, Nintendo's an easy company to squeeze money out of. Let's just sue the pants off of them.
yeah, but yet really Nintendo hasn't sued none of us, and really, in all honesty, Nintendo should be suing a lot of us because a lot of us use ROMs, and when a lot of us don't have the games for the ROMs. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put myself out there to put to get me sued because I don't play ROMs
But the
no
thing
more.
is, I see what you're saying. We're pretty much biting the hand that feeds us,
Yeah,
more or less.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So,
Like,
and the more people start suing Nintendo, the more Nintendo's going to say, you know what? If all of you people are going to be suing the crap out of us, fine. We're going to make our
bam.
money back. Now
Yeah,
all you guys are getting screwed.
yeah. Now everybody's
It
getting
could be
effed
a
up.
potential domino effect, and that could be a huge problem. I really hope it doesn't come down to
Because
it.
I tell you this right now. I tell you this right now. Nintendo will not be a Sega. I mean, they're gonna fight hard before they become a Sega. Um,
Yeah.
Nintendo's been around too long for them to just easily give up and
Hmm.
just let everybody have all their money and sell all their games and all their assets to other things. So I don't see Nintendo giving up, but it's crazy, dude. Like when I watched that, and I was just like, wow. I was just like, what the flip, man. And
Hmm.
it's happened with other gaming companies. It's happened with other companies. So it's not like it's. I mean, it's like just Nintendo. But that's what I'm saying is like, and and they even say a lot of these people are just trolls trying to get money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They see a similarity, and they know, like you said, they know that the law is unaware of what goes on in the gaming community, and they take advantage of it, and they get the
Hmm.
money. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and let you
Crazy.
go on to your next story.
Well, I'll go ahead and start with so basically there's some Final Fantasy 15 stuff in general that I want to discuss, but it's in multiple layers.
Hmm.
So the first thing I'm going to bring up is kind of what I hinted to at the beginning of the podcast. Basically, the mobile game of a new empire did their first, server versus server competition.
Hmm.
The idea was great. The premise of it was you had the ability to teleport to another server, and basically the whole point is to attack the crap out of their bases. And the more damage you dealt, the more units you killed, the more points your server got, to try
Mhm.
to win.
Mhm.
And vice versa, people from a certain server could come to your server and pretty much attack your people, whichever people that are left, more or less.
Mhm.
So the original idea for what me, and I thought it was just me, but apparently some of my guildmates saw it when they first dropped it, the hint about it. It was mentioned that everybody was going to get a teleport crystal. A teleport crystal is basically a crystal that allows you to move your base from one location to another.
Hmm.
So the idea, and those actually exist in the game. You can teleport to other parts in your server, but they were going to give you like a special crystal that would let you teleport anywhere in another person's server. Now the way it was set up, it was one server versus another because there's multiple servers, but it was only a one-on-one. So each server had a certain opponent that they had to go against.
Hmm.
So the idea was everybody was going to get a crystal, and then once the event started, anyone could use that one crystal whenever they wanted. And if you wanted to get more crystals, of course, you'd have to buy, spend money to get more,
Right.
which
Right.
makes sense. I think that
Right.
would be fair.
Right.
Well, here's where the issue came. So as soon as the event started, nobody got a crystal.
Right.
Okay. The only way that you were allowed to teleport to another person's server was to spend $100 to buy this pack of stuff that gives you a bunch of things and X amount of teleport crystals. And then you can move to other people's servers and have fun. And
Wow.
that's a bunch of crap. Like, in a
Wow.
previous video, I mean, I did defend, the whole, like, pay to get ahead kind of a thing. But this is one of those scenarios where it goes too far.
Yeah.
It's screwed up that, one, you promised everybody a free crystal, you didn't do it. And then two, in order for anyone to even actively participate, they have to spend $100 just to participate. Really?
Yeah. Nah,
and
that's
and
stupid.
that's what made me upset. The only reason that I even got to score any points myself was because someone actually was nice enough to attack me. Because the fact that another person from another server attacked me means that I actually got to deal damage to that other person, thus I got points. But had
Uh.
nobody teleported to my area and attacked me personally, I would have gotten no points because I was not about to spend $100 just to participate in the event.
Yeah. Forget that. That's
Like
like.
that's where I draw the line. This is borderline becoming a Blood Brothers scenario.
Uh oh.
And
Uh oh.
you've heard me talk about
Uh
this, right?
oh.
And for
Uh
those who've forgotten, yeah, I'm laying this down right
oh.
now.
Uh
Because people
oh.
gonna this is a lot of BS and it ticks me off. Blood Brothers had a huge issue with
Mm-hmm.
forcing you to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to even potentially be able to win a prize. It was ridiculous. Like if you were a free player, you did not stand a chance. This is the reason why one of the reasons that Blood Brothers went under was because that a lot of the free players were complaining that all the stuff that they got was garbage, and the only way that they would be able to get anywhere is if they had six different people running one profile 24/7 to compete with other people who spend tons of money. That at that point it becomes unfair because you don't stand a chance, and that's what Final Fantasy 15 a new Empire has become lately. It's a big time spend $100 on this, $100 on that. Now, yes, I will defend them in the fact that they do have one $5 pack and one
Wow.
$20 pack to get you far, and that's worth it, and that's fine. But the problem is that's a one time thing. After you spend
Wow.
your 5 and 20, you're forced to spend $100 if you want to really get ahead. And the fact that they're making you spend $100 just to participate in certain events, that's a bunch of bullcrap.
No,
Like that is ridiculous.
it's like saying, hey, if you want to play in the Overwatch season 6, you got to pay $100. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
No.
And that's what bothers me about the game more than anything else. Because a lot of people have been giving the game crap lately about certain things that actually don't even matter and don't make sense. But this is where they're actually drawing the line of being really bad. Is basically not even catering to the people who want to spend smaller amounts of money. Now, granted, yes, you don't have to spend money to build your empire. It just takes longer. I'm okay with that, but I'm not okay with me having to spend $100 just to participate in an event because those people who did not get attacked at all got no points because they weren't willing to spend $100, and whoever teleported did not attack them. And since they didn't attack them, they had no way to gain points, so
Okay.
they were screwed.
So I have a question. I have a real
Yeah.
question. Like, uh, like I know it's Final Fantasy, but does Square Enix have any say in this?
No, because they actually sold their. I'm trying to think of what the right verbiage is. So, Square Enix has nothing directly to do with Final Fantasy 15: A New Empire. They actually sold the rights to use their skins to a different company to put in the mobile game. So, Square Enix has nothing to do with this.
Why so
They
stupid?
literally have. They just said, "Here's some money. You're allowed." Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm willing to accept money from you to use our skins. Do what you want with it, and that's what
That's
this company's
so
doing.
stupid.
Yeah, so Square Enix has nothing directly to do with this. This is the company that basically bought the rights to some of their, skins and whatnot, so they wouldn't get sued to slap Final Fantasy 15 in a war type game. The game itself is not bad. I actually am really enjoying the game in general, but they're really starting to become a Blood Brothers, and if it keeps going like this too far, there's a chance that I may end up quitting. As much as I love the game, because I don't really play like slow, war games typically. I was
Right.
more into the fast paced ones like Red Alert, and to play something like this where it's time to build and lots of developing. I
A
mean,
lot of
it's a
waiting.
very very great idea of a game. It's just that it's becoming too much. They're crossing that line of becoming a game where you have to spend money, and that's where you draw the line. There are lots of mobile games where you don't have to spend money, like Seven Nights and Heroes Charge. You can do well, but as far as Final Fantasy 15: A New Empire, it's starting to become a game where you have to spend money to do anything, and that's where it becomes a problem. They've lost that balance basically. They're just trying to squeeze hundreds and hundreds of dollars out of people. And the sad thing is it's working, because I know lots of people who actually spend hundreds of dollars a week just to try to build and build and build, or participate in events and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow. So
Well,
that mean this company is getting rich off of us.
here's my two biggest things, right? Because a lot of people are not informative, like a lot of people don't have the information like we or you do. So a lot of
Hmm.
people probably don't even realize that Square Enix has um, no what you call it. What's up, Hellboy? Welcome to the stream. Have no say in it. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot
Right.
of people probably think, oh, the money's going to Square Onyx or whatever. Um,
Yeah, and none of this money is going to Square Enix. So you guys heard it from me. Square Enix is not making money. They've already made their money selling their skins to a different mobile gaming company, and they're the ones that are squeezing hundreds and hundreds of dollars out of you, not Square Enix. Square Enix would not have had a need to do that. They would have allowed people to just continue to pay $5 or $20 to get stuff. And I'm not going to say they don't have ways to continue to spend $5 or $20, but the thing that you can spend the money on is not worth it. So
nah,
they're literally forcing you to spend $100 after your first initial purchase
that's
of the cheap
crazy.
ones to keep going, and that's it's really annoying. It really is. So
And, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna continue to play the game because I want to see how far this gets. I'm curious to see how bad this becomes, and if it becomes a Blood Brothers, and if it does, I'm totally gonna be talking about it. I might even
Oh,
make a video on it myself later on YouTube, like
there
in
you
the
go.
future if it becomes a thing, because I want the people need to know.
Yeah, and here's the thing where I feel where Square Enix, Square Onyx dropped the ball. Okay, you shouldn't have sold your skins to this company because for one, here's where you have the problem. Okay, you have a bunch of people that are just now getting into Final Fantasy, right?
Hmm.
That don't even know
Yep.
what Final Fantasy is. Like,
Yep.
I knew this one girl. She streams on the PlayStation 4. Never knew what Final Fantasy was. A couple months ago, just started playing Final Fantasy 10. So she can kind of get an idea what Final Fantasy is.
A
And I
very
told
good game to start with, by
her,
the way.
yeah,
But
yeah,
go
that's what
on.
I told her. I was like, out of all those, this is probably the best ones. But I said, it doesn't matter. If you play Final Fantasy 10, you've never played Final Fantasy 15. They don't connect. Like none of the games connect. But I was like, it's a good start. So here's the thing, because a lot of people don't know about the Square Enix deal. A lot of people are gonna connect this price gouging to Final Fantasy itself, and it's gonna tarnish Final Fantasy. It's gonna tarnish Square Enix,
Hmm.
um, and it's probably gonna give Final Fantasy a bad rep.
It is, and that also leads into, because remember this is a multi-layered topic, because a lot of this stuff I'm just finding out now, and it's kind of scaring me a little bit. So not only has this problem occurred, this is actually the only problem that they've had so far that I can tell. Final Fantasy 15 companies in general. First off, selling their skins to a company that's price gouging the crap out of people. Now, I also think, I'm gonna say that Square Enix is doing this stuff for a reason. All right, so on recent episode that we did, we discussed that Final Fantasy 15 was going to be released for PC, the full game, its
Right.
version. I'm okay with that because
What's
PC
up,
gamers,
Mosquito? Go ahead. Sorry.
PC gamers, they like to have their versions as well. I'm okay with that. I mean, that's
Right.
always been a thing.
Right.
But now I'm finding out that they might make the full version of the game for mobile, not a spinoff like Empire or whatever, but an actual full length version of Final Fantasy 15 on mobile.
Why?
So, and I don't know why because I didn't really get a clear answer on that, but I have a theory.
Uh,
So, a while back before the game came out, I had discussed that the developers of Final Fantasy were very, very scared. They were very, very scared that this title was going to be a disappointment because of all the flack they got for Final Fantasy 13.
Right.
So they were pretty much desperate at that point and hoping that this game works. Because if it doesn't work, it was going to break them. So I think that prior to the completion of the core game itself, they made all of these spin-offs to kind of help offset any of their losses. What they didn't realize or what they didn't expect was the game itself to actually do really, really well.
Yeah.
So even though they're doing really, really well, they've decided to go ahead and do all of these offshoots, which is why you got Final Fantasy 15: The New Empire. That's how you got all of the movies, the animes. You got King's Knight. You got King's
But the
Blade.
animes and the movie was good. Like that made sense.
No, those are good. Yeah, and honestly, and I'm not faulting them for doing that. I thought that the fact that they did a movie and a few animated clips to advertise the game to be the prequel, that was one of the most ingenious ideas to hype a game. So I'm not faulting them for that. That was great. That was perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem and even the little spin-offs that they did, like King's Knight and what was it, the beat 'em up game and the puzzle game, like all of not the puzzle game, but
the side-scrolling game, the one that's like.
So that's the beat 'em up, but I'm talking about the pinball game. There you go.
Oh, I never got to play that
Justice
game.
Justice Monsters 5. That's what it's called. Justice Monsters 5.
The mobile game.
All of that stuff. Yeah, and all of those stuff, that was fine too. I have no problem with that because they're basically games within a game that you could play the real versions on elsewhere. That was perfect. That was perfectly fine. The problem is not only did they sell out their skins to a private company to pretty much tarnish their name, but now they're making a mobile version of the full game, which I'm not sure if I agree with that. I have mixed feelings about it because, I mean, a game that big, can you really fit that on mobile? Now, to give them a little bit of credit, you know, you can play a lot of the Final Fantasy IV spin-offs on the 3DS, right? So, and apparently it's very successful because they actually expanded the story of Final Fantasy IV because Final Fantasy IV was one of the best story-driven Final Fantasies of all time. Some will argue that 6 was better. That's not what I'm here to talk about. But, you know, when they did Final Fantasy IV for the Game Boy versions and expanded on the story, it was actually very well received and people loved it. And I guess they're using that as a way to say, well, if you could do it for Final Fantasy IV, we could do it for Final Fantasy 15. However, Final Fantasy 15 doesn't really have that kind of fan base to be expanded upon for mobile. You know, it hasn't been out long enough for people to really appreciate it. 4 is a classic, so it's been out for a long time that a lot of people appreciate to this day and still holds their own title. 15 is still fairly new. You really should have waited maybe a few more years to see if it's still as popular as it is now before discussing or telling anybody that you're going to do anything for mobile, because honestly, I think it's too soon. PC version, I'm fine with. But for mobile, and this is coming from the mobile gaming guy itself. Okay?
Mobile gaming guy. That should be your new name. Mobile gaming guy. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it could be. But I'm going to stick with what I have for now.
Okay.
But the person that's advocating mobile gaming is telling you that you should wait on putting the actual full title on mobile. You have enough already. You have your animes, you have the little game spin-offs, and all of that stuff is perfectly fine. Even the PC release, fine, but wait on the mobile. You gotta hold your horses.
And I don't mean to exhaust a topic, but I gotta. This is where I'm confused, Square Enix. If you're trying to get into the mobile market and you want something to play your game well, why didn't you go to the Switch? That's where I'm confused.
That's a good question, because everyone who's smart enough knows that Nintendo is the one console that knows all about
mobile gaming.
Handhelds. Yes. However, I can answer that question. Nintendo and Sony had problems. Because remember, Final Fantasy VII was originally supposed to be an N64 title.
Okay there, Crew Dog. I appreciate you dropping in. Make sure they don't tug on the dipstick too much there, bud. He's checking in while he's getting his oil change.
Ah, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, and I think we brought this up in a previous episode, like Nintendo and Sony were actually supposed to make a Final Fantasy game for N64, but due to some disagreements, and actually it wasn't Sony, it was a few companies in general that were supposed to make a Final Fantasy game for N64.
Right.
But because of a lot of the disagreements, they said, screw it, we're going to do our own thing. Thus, Final Fantasy VII comes out for Sony. This is just the fast version of it. There's more to it, but you can just look it up. Because I don't feel like trying to remember all that.
Yeah.
But the reason that they're not going to the Switch is because of their bad blood with Nintendo in the past over Final Fantasy. So I think that's why they didn't go to the Switch, because of the whole Final Fantasy VII issue.
But here's the thing. Are you going to let bad blood stop you from making a good business decision?
A lot of people do that.
I know, but
you're right, though. You're absolutely right. I'm not arguing that you're wrong, because you're totally right. But people do that.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know. Let's say, for instance, 10 years ago, I had a freaking bad blood with Nadeshot or Scumpy or something. And then, like, now, all of a sudden, you know, Optic likes the way I'm streaming. So they're like, hey, why don't you become part of our stream team? This is totally fabricated, okay? I am nowhere even know Nadeshot or even have a chance to even be part of anything like that. I'm part of Olympus anyway. I'm happy with Olympus. But anyway, let's say that happens, right? Am I really going to let that beef from 10 years ago stop me from being like in one of the top organizations in the gaming industry today? I shouldn't. Right. As a brand, I shouldn't. But shouldn't, no. I really shouldn't. That would be stupid. I'm shooting myself in the foot. And honestly, right. I feel like that's where Square Enix, whatever, is doing.
Square Enix.
Square Enix. They're shooting themselves in the foot. You know, my next question is, if you didn't want to go to Nintendo, to go to the mobile gaming, why would you go to a nobody known in the mobile gaming industry? I'm just saying, there are a lot of different other good mobile gaming game companies that have done like freaking games like what you're doing. The only thing that's different from the other war game that I played that's like this is a Final Fantasy skin. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Final Fantasy skins, nothing special.
So why wouldn't you go to somebody that's making all the freaking money off the dang thing and say, hey, give me a piece of the pie. Here, you can put Final Fantasy on top of it and make more money. Just give me 20% of it. Give me 10%. Like, what is going on with people and bad business decisions? Oh my Jesus. I feel like I'm a business genius, but I'm really not. I'm just an old head. Because business is not the way that it used to be. And that's across the board. Whether it be mobile gaming, whether it be esports, whether it be stream teams, whether it be Twitch, whether it be whatever. Business is just like, business is so Kool-Aid. Like, business used to be business used to be like firm, solid, on point. Like, you used to be like nervous as a mother trucker when you making a business deal. Now business is just like people, because it's so easy to just become a business or to quote unquote become a professional at what you're doing. Because now it's all about your social presence. That a lot of people do not have business etiquette at all.
It's pretty much been thrown out the window these days, it seems. You know, it's a big social thing.
Yeah, like even off stream, if I know that I'm dealing with somebody that knows that I'm a streamer and we're talking about streaming stuff, I still come with streaming etiquette, business etiquette. I'm not going to be out of business character. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to carry, and if you come to me out of character and you come out of me like out of a business standpoint, okay, then I know, okay, this dude's cool. He has passion for what he's doing, but he don't understand the business standpoint, the business side of it. So I need to step away. because that dude is gonna be destructive for me. That dude's not gonna help me grow. That dude's gonna help me like dismantle. You know, if you're not coming to me with a business aspect of stuff, because I think of Handy Kill Cam as a brand. It's a brand. So everything that I do, everything that I say, everything that I put myself into, I put myself on, affects my company. It affects Handy Kill Cam. It affects Handy Kill Cam for what he stands for. So I always come with a business aspect. So the fact that these companies are making like bad business decisions, I'm like, what the flip, man? Like, what? Like, and I'm not even big into the mobile game. I haven't even played this game, to be honest. But the fact that they're making bad business decisions like this makes me not even want to even associate myself with the game, because I am a Final Fantasy fan, and that they're not even though it might be a Final Fantasy skin to me, since Square Enix cut themselves off, then I can't associate myself with that, because it's not real Final Fantasy. Just in my opinion.
Yeah, it is not. Like, other than some skins, it doesn't really explore the realm of Final Fantasy really at all. You just have certain familiar characters like Noctis and some chocobos, but
that's fine.
Really...
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I'm talking about the quality. Like, when I know I get a Final Fantasy game, I know that I'm not gonna, like, besides the graphics and the name or whatever, the storyline and all that, I know I got a well-built game. You know, it's kind of like when you get a Nintendo. You know, it's well built. You know, because of their reputation. You know,
right?
Final Fantasy is not like all these other games that come out all quick and they need a big update before they can work, because it's all patched and broken.
Right.
I know that I can sit there and dive into Final Fantasy. I know that I'm getting my $60 worth no matter what the game be. Even if I don't like it, even if it's not even to my preference of a game, I know that they've put their my $60 worth in that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
The fact and that's where it's misleading, because a lot of people know that with Final Fantasy, so they figure, oh, I'll go ahead and throw $100 in there because I'm gonna get my money's worth, because I always do with Final Fantasy. Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, don't do it. If you want to spend $5 or $20, that's fine, because that's a smaller amount of money, and you know you're not feeding them that much, and it's only going to be a one-time thing anyway. But as far as all these $100 stuff, stop buying into it. It's really not worth it. I mean, obviously, there's some people that's going to do it anyway because they want to have the strongest empire and be able to beat everybody else. That's fine. But if you're doing it to try to support Square Enix, it's not really happening, because they're not making any further funds from it, because they've already sold out, so to speak. And it just kind of bothers me. And that's why I was really censoring myself, because honestly, I just want to start ranting and raving, but I'm actually chilled right now. I'm trying to not, be too aggressive on this podcast, because I actually respect this content and quality. But yeah, like, they really made a bad decision when they sold the skins to that company. And now that they're talking about making a mobile version, I actually like your idea, by the way, that if they're going to do it, it should be on the Switch, because that just makes more sense.
It's a business decision.
That's a very good business decision. So instead of potentially ruining your name again by giving it to another mobile title, you should just go to Nintendo, who is really good at doing mobile stuff in general, and just let your game be on the Switch.
And think about all the possibilities that could be done with the Switch with that game. Think about it. It could probably be the only game that could be able to rival the Zelda game, because I tell you, that Zelda game is on point. I haven't played it.
Oh, it is on point. Like, everybody in their grandma is on that game's nuts, and that's fine, because Legend of Zelda has that kind of lifelong quality to be being one of the top games. So yeah, I mean, associate yourself with Nintendo, and And this is another thing too, because remember how they've been talking about doing multiplayer? Well, the
Hmm.
Switch is perfect for it because the Switch is advertising doing multiplayer. Imagine being able to link up with your friends and play Final Fantasy 15 together. You know what I mean? Like that's like the perfect formula right there for them if they're trying to push the multiplayer.
Nintendo, hire us, please, or some company hire us, please. I'm telling you.
I'm just saying,
I'm
like I
just
got
saying.
ideas.
I mean, we're all business heads. We're all about real business.
I mean,
Forget all this.
we know about gaming history. Obviously, we do our
What's up,
research.
Kitty? Long time no see. How you be? Thank you for that lurking. But yeah, definitely. Like I don't know.
And, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because when I was growing up, one of the things I wanted to do is actually work for Nintendo of America. I actually wanted to go to Redmond, Washington, just to try to work for the company. Not, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to work for Nintendo at their office in Washington. You
I
know what I mean?
yeah. I don't even know if I really want to work for a single company. I think I just want to be an important name in the industry, to
Yeah,
where.
that's where I'm now. Like that's what I used to want to do because I was a big
Mhm.
Nintendo guy. But
Mhm.
now that I'm okay with other things, yeah, I wouldn't mind being just good in the industry in general.
Right, right. Where I just want my opinion to matter. I'm tired of all
Yeah.
these other people that are causing drama with their opinion and
Hmm.
like making things are drastic changing because of crybabies.
Right.
I think our opinions are very well thought opinions. Even though we do not talk about this show beforehand. We really don't. But you would think that we sit here and we digest and think about what we're going to talk about and study it. We don't. We're that passionate about gaming. It's what I think about 24/7 besides my woman and stuff and God and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, and speaking of business decisions, I got something where we can go with this. So
Sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this from my controller for now because I want so people can see this. In fact, well, I don't want to go to the I don't want to go to the main cam because then um, we'll lose our overlay, man. Okay, so
Oh no.
this is where I want to say this is a good idea, but I want to say where the FPS Dominator dropped the ball. Okay, so for those that don't know, I went and bought this strictly because I got everybody started me telling me, hey, if you get paddles, you need to get a scuff. You need to get a scuff. And I said, I know darn well enough there's an idea out there where I don't gotta go and spend $160 something to get a scuff. So I did, and I bought it. And I'm gonna tell you what I like about this, what I don't like about this, my review on this, my 1 to 10 review on this, and why. There's only like maybe one or two things I don't like about this. Other than that, I think it's a good product. Just remember, you are getting what you pay for. Um, I do okay. So for those that don't know, this is the FPS Dominator for the PlayStation. Basically, what it does is it hooks on the back of your controller from the front, and it plugs in from the top of your USB port, which gives you another USB port on top to charge your controller or whatnot. Now, um, basically, trigger stops are effing awesome. Well, this also has trigger stops built into it also. You can everything. Basically, this thing has an onboard computer chip. So basically, when it plugs into the controller. So basically, what you can do is you can hit like left on the D-pad, and it opens up the brain. It opens up the brain of this, and you can tell it to do certain things. Like you can hit select, certain buttons. You have to read the manual to do it to figure out what combinations to do what. Um, and you can set the trigger stops. It automatically different game presets for different mods. Yo, Kitty, thank you for that host for different mods. Now I will tell you this: if you want to, you can totally cheat on this. It has a quick scope mod. It has a what do they call that? I call it the belly flop mod, but it's the one where you can do the drop shot. and you can tweak it all. It's got all that. Now you don't have to use that. Like I said, you can go into tournament mode. It has a tournament mode and a mod mode. Now the only thing that I do not like about this is it also has an app on it for the computer where you can yeah. Well, this is made by the same company that makes Chronos Max. Just to put that out there. So it's for Hellboy says so does the Chronos Max. This is made by Collective Minds, or I think it's Collective Minds or whatever. The same company. It's all in the same place. This is just cheaper. This is only $40. So my biggest downfall to this is it has an app where you can hook it up to your computer and do everything, where you don't have to figure out all the combinations and stuff. But to plug it into your computer, to get your computer to recognize it, you have to have it plugged into your controller, and while you're plugging it into your PC, you got to push down on both the triggers at the same time. So in the back of your controller. Now you can say, well, Handy, that's not a big problem. Well, yeah, it's really not. But for somebody with my disability, that's a big problem. I have yet to freaking be able to access the app because I cannot connect the controller to my PC. So I'm telling you right now, Collective Minds, you need to change it. Right now the app is in beta stage. So if anybody can hear me, this is why I'm saying, this is where I need to be like somebody in the gaming industry, where somebody hears my opinion, because it needs to be changed. It could be used for anything else. I know people with a lot of disabilities that could use this, but with the way that it's made right now with the app, they can't access the app. Because I know with my disability, and my disability is not as strong as most other people's, I know if I can't access it, other people can't access it. And I tried. I even tried to like tap it with my mouth with one part, and then hit it with my hand on the other part. Now, what do I think about this? I've learned to use it without using the app. I've figured out the controller combinations, so I've pretty much triggered everything and figured it all out. Why? Because I read this thick ass manual. What do I think of it? Out of a scale of 1 to 10, I would have to say I give it a 7, only because
sounds like a fair score.
Yeah. Only reason why I give it a 7 is because of the whole disability thing and the fact that I can't use it to its full potential.
Right.
Easily, you guys can make it these 2 buttons back here, where you guys, all you have to do is hold these 2 buttons in the back here like this, and then plug it in, and then it would work. You guys could easily do that, or you guys can easily do it to where it's the start and select button together on the controller. Or here's another thing, you guys can make it where it's the touchpad on the PS4 controller, since it's hardly ever utilized for anything. I know it's a big selling point for PS4, not to knock on PS4, but it's hardly used for anything. I'm just saying.
Well, it is your start and select button, which is weird in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah,
like they should say select and start, not like map button or whatever.
Guide and whatnot. But I think if you would do that, I think that it would be cool. The only other disadvantage I don't like, but I understand you guys are trying to make your money, is that it's a USB to micro USB, but the way they have it set up, they have their own USB head, and the only cord that fits in their USB head is their cord. So you can't use, out of the 100 micro USB cords we all have, you can't use that cord. I mean, you can jimmy rig it to figure out how to get it to work, but you can't just go and buy like a $5 cord from Walmart and get it to work if that cord goes out. So you like legitimately have to go on their site and buy their cord if their cord breaks. Now, the other downside is your controller must be plugged in at all times, but I don't have a problem with that. You get a better response when your controller's wired anyway. So for those that don't play controller games wired and you're playing an SPS game, it's like, what the F are you doing? Because you need to have your controller wired when you're playing FPSs because of the 3-second, 2-second delay.
You know, a lot of people are going to have issues with that because I can almost guarantee you that most people play wirelessly. They feel that it's very convenient and not having to be as close to the screen. So some people will have issues with that. You know, and then if that's the way they are, then they're just gonna have to miss out, unfortunately.
Yeah, they
But
are.
the reality of it, all the people like wireless, and I'm not gonna say that I blame them, especially for people with certain disabilities that have to be a distance away for whatever the setup is. Like I can understand that, but there are a lot of people who could sit closer who would prefer not to play wired. So you're gonna be missing out because of that.
You will, but most of the hardcore FPSs, because in tournaments, in actual tournaments, I know Call of Duty tournaments for sure, your controllers have to be wired. So,
and it's kind of the same with Evo. For those who don't know, that's the big fighting game tournament that happens every year. They usually have arcade sticks that are wired or bring controllers that have a wire connected to the system. That's just basic rule of thumb. And it's also, you know, prevents delay, lag, whatever, so you can perform better. So yeah, being wired in general for gameplay is always better, especially in the competitive market. But if you're casual, you probably don't care. You know?
And if you're casual, you probably don't want this. But
right.
Here's my thing though. When you're casual, I mean, it gives you an opportunity to have something like this, because when you're casual, you're not gonna go and spend $200 and something on a controller. Not only that, I want to share something with you guys. Those that don't know much about SCUF controllers, see this. You can map your controller. You can map your controller, your whole controller. You can even map your triggers, your back triggers. Just with a click of a button. All I gotta do is click this button back here, right here, that my finger's on, and then push the button that I want it to be mapped to. SCUF, you have to pay an extra fee for them to map your controller, and once it's mapped, I think you can't remap it, or you have to pay something else for it to remap your controller, or you have to pay something else to buy something to remap it. So I feel like if you are ones that pay for SCUFs or Elite controllers, go this route because it's cheaper. You can also get this for Xbox instead of paying $160 something or $140 for an Elite controller, and you're like, oh, but the magnetic paddles. Well, guess what? Look, magnetic paddles. So it's the same thing, but for cheaper. Now, granted, you're gonna see me having difficulty, but that's just because of me. It's not the product. It's me. My hands don't work well sometimes. So, but that's why I say, like, you know, they need to make their product a little bit more handy, kill cam accessible, please. I'm thinking about writing them, emailing them, and letting them know, so that they'll fix it, because I'm gonna tell them, like, I cannot access their app at all. Speaking of disability, there's one thing that I didn't get to mention before. I found out some things about moving to Austin, and I think I need to address this, because with me being with Able Gamers and me being part of the disability community, gaming community, I think a lot of people need to know this. I didn't know this. My wife found this out while I was in Austin. So, in Austin is the most ADA friendly city in Texas over San Antonio. And what does this mean? This means that Austin caters to people with disabilities, to the point to where I automatically get free rides wherever I go. Basically, for instance, if I want to go to the store or take my daughter to the mall while my wife's at work, I just call this company, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we'll come get you." For the people that are blind, every sidewalk has this thing to where, like, if it's like has a pole, like a little like line thing or a pole thing, to where like it like lets the blind people know when to walk or when not to walk. Every place has a ramp. Oh, an actual real ramp, one that's not crazy. Also, with this company that I was talking about, when they know that you are going to be riding on their in their vehicles, they ask you to come to their facility, and they want to see your limitations. So basically, they'll see what vehicles you can get in, what vehicles you can get out of, what your limits are, and basically what kind of wheelchair you have, and they give you your own custom straps. So
Nice.
so basically, there's like no way for me to fall out. If I fall out, it's on me. You know what I mean? Because
I know with that motorized one you had fell sideways once. I remember that.
yeah.
And that's why using like a regular manual wheelchair was better for you because you had more control than
Right.
the electric ones.
Yeah. Well, and speaking with Via, what happened with Via was they didn't strap. I was riding with Via one time, and they didn't strap me in properly, and I fell back and hit my head. Now I could have sued them. I called Wainwright. Wainwright's like, yeah, you got a lawsuit, but they were knowledgeable with me. They said, look, you'll get this money. We got you on tape. You'll get this money, but you'll lose your benefits. And if you lose your benefits after the money's gone, you can't get the benefits back. So we would advise you not to take the money and not sue. Which, that's pretty freaking cool, because most lawyers wouldn't do that. Most lawyers would just be like, screw it, I want the money. But they were like,
Well,
no.
that just proves Wainwright's character, how good of a lawyer he is to actually spell that out for you like that. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that was years ago. That was back when I was like still living with my mom and stuff. And of course Tim was like, "Oh, you should have sued." I'm like, "Nah, I would have been stupid. That'd have been like the most worst decision ever, because who's to say I wouldn't be out of the money now, and then I would have to like
Right.
go." And then
Because money goes real fast.
And then here's another thing that I want to show you guys about Austin. The actual guy, the guy that's like hiring my wife, he was showing my wife all this stuff because he found out I'm disabled. Because it's not something like we like go and say, hey, I'm disabled, whatnot. But my wife told him, and he was like, well, I want to show you how this is going to not only benefit you for your job, but it's going to benefit your husband moving here in Austin. They actually give people, there's actually places in Austin that automatically give people with disabilities and with my disabilities jobs. Like I can go work for Amazon right now in Austin.
Wow.
They'll automatically hire me. So
That's cool.
he's like, so if your husband wants a job, he's got a job here in Austin, which is pretty freaking crazy, which is cool. I didn't mean to go on to that, but speaking about the disability, with the whole disability issue with this thing, I thought I better bring that up. So
that's actually okay that you did so, because I kind of want to bring something up too. Now, I brought it up recently, but this is more for the YouTubers, because due to the technical issues we had a few episodes back, one of the videos did not get posted on YouTube because of the audio problems that we had that day. So I just kind of want to bring this up more for the YouTubers. The people on Twitch, you've heard this once, but since we're talking about disabilities, I kind of want to just briefly talk about another charity speedrun thing that happens as well.
cool.
Not just Awesome Games Done Quick and Summer Games Done Quick, but another one that's called RPG Limit Break. Just giving a shout out to them again, more for the sake of YouTube. This is a gaming charity speedrun who just does RPGs, Final Fantasies, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, stuff like that. And they raise money for NAMI, N-A-M-I. It's like the National Association of for mental illness.
Don't get that
So,
confused with Konami. Nami, not
yeah,
Konami.
exactly. And don't get it confused with Konami, just straight up Nami, which in Japanese means what, by the way. But anyway,
Really?
yeah. Well, since I watch anime, I kind of learned a little bit of Japanese here and there. But anyway, so the fact that we actually have gamers who are playing my favorite type of games, RPGs, for charity for mental illness is like a really really cool thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Both me and your boy Handy, we both know people in the past who had mental illness
Mm-hmm.
for one reason or another. And this is kind of one of those things that does touch our heart, and I kind of wanted to bring it up to everybody, not only the people on Twitch who've already heard me say this, but for the folks on YouTube as well. Now their schedule is very random because I actually looked the last time, and each year they've always had their event on different months of the year. So, but whenever they have their next, whenever I find out when the next one is, I will be hyping it, letting you guys know so that you can, watch the event and, make your donation. It's not as big as Summer Games Done Quick and all that, but I still think it's just as important.
They all
You know what I
start
mean?
somewhere. They all start somewhere.
They all start somewhere. You know what I mean? Because Awesome Games Done Quick and Summer Games Done Quick, they
What's
weren't
up,
always big
Diesel?
either.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
They weren't always busy. They were not always as popular as they are now. So I'm sure RPG Limit Break with enough push could be just as big as the Games Done Quick guys. And some of the people who do Games Done Quick do RPG Limit Break, like Poexel. He does it. People like what is his name, Spike Vegeta, he's done it. You know what I mean? So a lot of the popular names that you've seen do RPGs for the Games Done Quick also do RPG Limit Break as well, off and on. So you'll see some familiar faces and then some new faces that you haven't seen because they're not on Games Done Quick. And it's just fun. You're watching your favorite RPGs being sped run a lot, and for a very very good cause. And that's why the Games Done Quick guys don't do as many RPGs as they used to, because of RPG Limit Break. They're letting them shine on their own event, which I think shows a lot of respect.
Which that's good. Like I was explaining the other day, like, when it comes to Twitch, we're all part of the same company, so why wouldn't we want to see us grow? And that's just kind of the same thing. If Gamers Done Quick lets them grow, it does nothing but help everything grow as a whole, especially the charity base grow as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Because charities for gaming and gaming charities is really a good thing, I think, all around, no matter what charity it is. I just think a lot of people are standoffish about certain charities, and that's where I'm at right now, because I wanna raise money for Houston, but I have yet to find a good, well, I won't say a good charity because I'm not the one to judge one's a bad charity and one's not, but I have yet to find a charity that takes 100% of the proceeds to the other people, meaning they don't take nothing. I haven't found one yet. Granted, I haven't checked in the one that somebody texted me. I've just been busy. But I'm on the process, and now it's probably gonna be starting to do for the actual just hurricane relief, because no people, if you don't know, Wilma just hit Florida, or
that was like yesterday, right?
Yeah, this last night. So, I mean, we are in a, sorry about not chatting and being late. Just got back from the DMV and was eating my early lunch. Hey, don't apologize. Don't apologize. Me and this.
We know life happens.
we would do this whether we had 0 viewers, whether we had 1 viewers. I do this for the love of it. I do this because it's something that we love to do. So
yeah, I mean, when we first started this, it was just the 2 of us. Like, we were doing it on YouTube strictly, so we didn't even really have a live audience. We were just doing our thing and then posting the videos. So we're it's not going to break our heart if you have something happen and you're not able to comment. No big deal. You know what I mean? Like, we appreciate you commenting right now. You know what I mean? So you're good.
Yeah, it's funny because the way we started it, doing it live, was we did it on accident.
Yeah, it was a complete accident. You're right.
Yeah, and people started coming in and they said, "Will you please continue to do this more live?" And I
Yeah.
talked to OG and was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Are you down with it?
Yeah, and I'm glad we did it. I'm glad it happened.
Me too.
Let's call it a happy accident.
A happy accident. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and get into my next topic. I don't have a lot of physical proof of this next topic. I wasn't able to find the video, but I know the video is out. I'm glad you guys still do the podcast. Yeah, even hypothetically, even if I would never stop streaming, but even if I was to stop streaming gaming, I would still do the podcast. I have a special heart in my place for this podcast. Couldn't nobody ever get me to stop doing this podcast. I don't care what it was. You couldn't get me to stop to do it unless OG said, you know what, I'm done, and then we're done. I wouldn't even go and get another co-host. We're just done.
Yeah, I'd rather keep doing this. I like this too.
Yeah, definitely. Next thing I want to talk about, but I don't have a lot of physical proof of this because I can't find the video. What's up, boobies? Oh my Jesus. So the Xbox One X is not really selling. Nobody's really pre-ordering it. Like, you have your diehard people pre-ordering it, but it's not booming, which I'm not surprised. I'm not reporting this to say because I'm in shock or oh my Jesus. It's more of like I told you so kind of moment. Because if you remember the last 4 or 5 episodes, I think it was like, I want to say maybe 6 episodes ago, I told a lot of people that yes, the diehard Xbox people will get this, but I'm telling you, a lot of people, it won't be the game changer where people get this. And if you want to know the reason why a lot of people are not getting the Xbox One X, is because, again, it's where people made a bad business decision, and this is where Xbox made a bad business decision, and I'm about to break it down to you. And then we can go on to a next subject if OG's got it. And if not, then I have another one.
No, go ahead, man.
Here's where they did a bad business decision. They didn't make it to where you had to buy the Xbox One X. And you'd be like, well, Handy, what do you mean? Well, okay, so PUBG's exclusive, but it's not going to be a full exclusive. They've already broke it down. Eventually, PUBG is going to be going to PlayStation. So eventually, you're going to be able to play PUBG on PlayStation. But there is no one game that everybody wants that is only going to be on the Xbox One X. You know, because the games are still being released on the Xbox One. So, but there's no way of them making it to where like, oh, I gotta have an Xbox One X to play this game. Oh, I gotta have a Xbox One X to do a certain thing. The only certain thing you need an Xbox One X for is 4K. And 4K is just, I mean, to a lot of people, it's just out of the budget. It's not that it's not wanted, it's just out of the budget. Now, will that change? I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, look, we all have 1080p televisions. But I feel like where they dropped the ball was they didn't have no exclusive, like no good game exclusives to where they said, you know what, I got to get an Xbox One X to play a certain game. Now, granted, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you said, Handy Kill Cam, if Xbox came to me and said, we know how much you love PUBG, Handy. We know how much you want to play PUBG. We know that you want to play PUBG so bad that you have the game on your PC and you can't even play it. But let me tell you this. If you go out and you buy an Xbox One X, that's the only way you're going to be able to play PUBG ever on console. Guess what? I'm going to go buy an Xbox One X. Even though I don't want to, I'm going to go because I want to play that game. And that's where Xbox has dropped the ball. They were more into their hardware being the best, craziest hardware in the world instead of working on exclusives and good games. I said this in the beginning of the podcast. If it wasn't because of my favorite streamer that plays on Xbox exclusively, and if it wasn't for certain people that I play with on Xbox exclusively, I'd probably sell my Xbox. Because there's really no reason, because what ends up happening is I end up buying the games twice. For instance, Call of Duty, I have to end up buying twice because, you know, I have Xbox friends, I have PlayStation friends, but there's no reason. There's like no that other than that. There's no other reason for me to buy the Call of Duty on Xbox. You see what I'm saying? There's no reason.
Right.
There's no reason for me to buy Destiny on Xbox. You know, it's just only because of people. It's not because of the Xbox itself.
Right.
And speaking of which, and this will be going into my final topic, I want to talk about the Xbox version of the Call of Duty beta. Now, you guys know, when I played it on the PlayStation, I gave it high score. I had high hopes. Now, for the Xbox, it's a totally different story. I don't know what they did different. I don't know what's different, but it seems like every so often in the beta, it was like super lag, to the point to where it was unplayable. Like you were just rubber banding and you were standing and you just couldn't do anything. This was after my internet fix, for those that want to say, oh, it's probably your internet. No. I played a lot of the beta online but offline where you guys wouldn't see me. It wasn't for disrespect. It was because I needed to get my own opinion. I needed to get my own thoughts without it being fueled by somebody else or without piggybacking off of somebody else's idea. Because what had happened was when the beta dropped for the Xbox, I was like, man, something in my gut said not to get it. Something in my gut said, don't drop the $50 right now. And I just thought it was God telling me, you know, because you're about to move, you know. So just to let everybody know, I'm putting all my streaming money towards my move, just because we don't know what we're gonna face. So anyway, so I didn't pre-order the beta on the Xbox. I noticed the lag on the beta too. Kind of makes me wonder if the COD did it on purpose so that people would go back to PlayStation. You know,
That's an interesting point.
You know, it could be very true. You know, it could be true. But then again, they could be testing the server itself. You know, and that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking
Right.
maybe they're stress testing the server to see how far they can push it. But my problem with that theory is they didn't push the PlayStation. If that's the case, if they were theory pushing the server to Xbox to see how much the Xbox server can handle, then why didn't they do that to the PlayStation server? Because I promise you guys, I played the heck out of that PlayStation beta. I did not receive any lag like that. None. And I played with a group of people. I played with Nemo. I played with Headshot. I played with a lot of people all at once, and I did not experience the worst lag that I experienced on the Xbox. Because a lot of people's theories is when you COD has the contract with PlayStation is the only reason why I had a weird feeling about the beta. Yeah, I know, I had a weird feeling too. You know, and I wanted to see it because I knew out of everybody that's Xbox exclusive too, Grandpa's gonna be like the honest person. And you know, and to hear Grandpa say it plays better on, you're right. Because I just thought maybe it was me. And when Grandpa said, no, Handy, you're right, it plays better on PlayStation, because Grandpa has both systems too. And when Grandpa said that, I knew there was something. Because Grandpa don't say that. Grandpa is not a PlayStation person. Grandpa does not like the PlayStation interface. He does not like PlayStation at all. But for Grandpa to say that a game plays better on PlayStation, you better take notice.
That means something. That holds weight.
You better take notice. And so once that happened, that's when I turned all my online notifications off, and I dove into it myself. And yeah, exactly. Grandpa don't pull no punches. He calls it like he sees it. And I played a lot of the beta offline. And I gotta say, the beta was the most displeasant experience I ever played on the beta was on the Xbox. And I feel bad because it's misleading. It makes people feel like they wasted their $50, because if you pre-order the game on your console, meaning without going to GameStop, you got to put down the whole $50. It's not no put the $5 down now and then, don't pay the rest later. It's the whole $50 or the whole $100. You know what I mean? And so for the beta to be non-playable, that becomes a problem. Now, my next question is, why do games, and you can answer this question, it's a rhetorical question, but you can answer this question. Why do the games absolutely have to play so differently on two different systems? I just don't understand it.
That was a question that you could have asked back in the old school Nintendo versus Sega days. Because I don't know if you remembered, but just about every game that you can play on one system or another was completely different. Now, there were some differences that were more because of the power of the system itself. So this might not really apply to the newer generation of the systems, but back in the old days, if Sega had a version of a game, you knew the graphics were going to be better. However, the Super Nintendo version, even though its graphics were not as good, the actual controls and the actual gameplay itself was a lot better. So at that point, it's more of the power of the system and how the company operates. Nowadays, I mean, it's not really about graphics anymore. So I'm not exactly sure what draws the line between one system and another these days, because I mean, at this point, technology is up to the point where everybody should be on par. So I'm not too sure at this point why everything has to be different. For back in the days, it made sense though, because Sega was a graphics system, Nintendo was a player system. So that I mean, you understood that, you knew it, and you picked a side. But with Sony and Microsoft, there's really not a whole lot.
There's really not. There is. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because I feel like I shoot better on PlayStation, and this is without this mod. This is before the mod. I really shoot better now with this thing, but but before then, like, it seemed like I shot better on the PlayStation. And we got a comment real quick. The lag was worse during the party play. It seems like the Xbox issues all around the party issue, and they done nothing to fix it. Well, that's the biggest drawback to Xbox. I mean, that's probably, like, no offense to you guys, I mean, I love playing with you guys, my Xbox people, Diesel Girl, Grandpa, Nemo, Cloudy. I love all you guys, man. But that's probably, like, the hardest thing that is hard for me to play on the Xbox is the party system, because it just, I don't know, it's just, it breaks the game. And if it doesn't break the game, then it breaks the audio. And it's like sitting on your butt when you have a boil. You can do it, you can handle it, but it's just, it's discomfortable. It's really
very uncomfortable.
It's it's very uncomfortable. And I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I feel like if you make a game to go on cross platforms, regardless of the contract issue, you should say, or you should make sure it plays well on all systems. I mean, think about it. Again, it's your business, it's your name, it's your brand. Why would you want one game to fail on one system? You know what I mean? I get it, the contract, but then they should tell people, hey, if you want a good connection, go play on PlayStation. But then why would you even want to waste the money if you knew that your game was going to play bad on the Xbox? Let's just call it like it is. If you knew your game was going to play like shit on the Xbox, excuse my language, but I got to go raw with this. If you knew your game was going to play like shit on the Xbox, why waste the money and put your game out for the Xbox? Why do it? You know, there's a reason why certain games are not played on the Switch, because certain games can't handle the Switch port.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if that's the truth with Call of Duty, I mean, then why waste the money? Because you're shooting again, it's another bad business decision. You're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people just gotta quit shooting themselves in the foot. Like I said, I'm to the point to where like I am not buying Call of Duty and on the PlayStation until after the first month of the game being out on the PlayStation. So unfortunately, I mean not on the PlayStation, but the Xbox. So unfortunately, right now the 24-hour stream with DB is off until I see improvement with the lag. The lag
Fair
on
enough.
the Xbox. Because if I'm gonna be playing the game for 24 hours, I gotta enjoy it, and I kind of have no problems. If I'm gonna be dealing with lag problems with me just running in place and rubber banding, it's not gonna be enjoyable. It's not gonna be fun. So
Mm-hmm.
I need to see some kind of improvement on the Xbox end of Call of Duty.
Right.
And if OG not have anything else to speak on, I have one question that for the audience and for OG, and then
Mm-hmm.
that will be our final debate question, and then we will end the podcast.
Okay.
But my question is to you, and this brought up the journalism thing. Do you think? And I was listening to another podcast. So I got this from another podcast. But do you think journalism should be like video game journalists? You know, people that like do like analyze the game and stuff. You know, kind of like us. But do you think they should be good at video games?
No, I don't think they have to be good at video games. I think that they have to have enough knowledge about video games. Like I've been a competitive player in the
Mm-hmm.
past.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even though I've been competitive, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm great. Because, yeah, I can beat people locally at just about any Street Fighter game. But if I was to go to EVO, I'd get my butt kicked hardcore. So first off, you have to define what is considered being good at a video game. And as far as journalism is concerned, you're just talking about the game itself. You don't have to be good as far as mastering the game. You just have to be good enough to be able to play the game, finish the game, and be able to give good critiques on it. It's not about your skill in the game, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. It's more about just being able to learn and provide good thought about the game. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That's really what it is. You don't have to be great at it.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, okay, would you have to have some knowledge of the game that you're speaking of, though?
Well, for people like, let's say, Game Informer, for example, they're always playing games that they know nothing about, and
Right,
they're considered journalists,
right.
and they do a pretty good job. I mean, that's like the perfect example right there of people who play games blindly. I mean, yeah, they go to different companies and they hear about certain things, but of course, you don't really know until you play a game. So they're constantly playing all of these games and putting out legitimate reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can definitely go in blind with no knowledge, and if you play a game long enough, yeah, you'll be able to give some good thought about the game.
And we have a comment. She said, Diesel Girl said they should have general knowledge and definitely know what they're talking about. Agreed.
Right.
And the reason why I
Yeah.
bring this up is because apparently, there was a journalist or whatever. I don't know. I didn't get to listen to the whole story because we were getting ready for the podcast. But it just struck the question to me. But basically, what happened is this person was playing Cuphead. In fact, that may be the only game that I'm excited to see that's exclusively on Xbox is Cuphead. And that's not even a multiplayer game. But anyway,
Mhm.
a journalist was trying to play the game, and he didn't even know how to navigate himself around the Xbox. Didn't even know how to navigate around the game or nothing. And like legitimately, I guess he was live streaming and legitimately wasted an hour because he didn't know what he was doing. And
Okay.
a lot of people were saying, what right does he have to be a video game a journalist if he doesn't even know nothing about, where where he's at and what he's doing. And I get that. I get that. It's kind of like how can you be a football journalist? How can you talk about football when you know nothing about football?
Right. You know, when you're first and foremost, I think the problem that that person ran into is that person was probably trying to be the first person to put out a video about a game so they could get all the hype first. And I talked about this in a previous podcast where I hate the fact that people rush in doing reviews and playthroughs of a game that know nothing about it just for the sake of being the first one to say they've done it. Because honestly, you ruin your reputation because clearly it shows that you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're talking about. So before you start telling other people what to do, learn the game first.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Game Informer, they don't necessarily like just say, I'm gonna live stream this game that no one's ever played before, we've never played before, and try to give you, some ideas. They actually test and they take the time to play the games before they come up with their opinions and before they do any kind of live streaming, so that it doesn't look like they have no idea what they're doing.
No, and Diesel Girl said this, and I have a comment for this comment for you, Diesel Girl, because a lot of people don't know this. On the other hand, former football players and race car drivers have become commentators for the sport. You do get a feeling that they know what they're talking about. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because you trust their knowledge because they've been in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of like you guys trust us, because I mean, you could tell by what we speak about that we've been in gaming for a long time. We may not be no professional. We may not be an ING. We may not be a part of Game Informer. We may not, we may never even see the light of day. Although that would be kind of awesome if one of them offered us a job to be video game analyst.
Oh, yeah.
I would probably take it in a heartbeat. Just saying. And I will be in the Austin area. So I'm just saying. Hit me up. I'm just saying. Anyway. I feel that, I'm the same way. If I've never played a game before, I don't stream it right away. Like, Lawbreakers, I probably played it for a good 10 hours before I streamed it. At least a good 10 hours. Just to get an understanding. Because, and this will be going into since I didn't do a streamer tip last week, this is going to go into my streamer tip. Don't stream a game you don't know. Because this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. You are going to be streaming a game that you don't know nothing about, and somebody's going to ask you a question about this game. And you'd be like, huh? What? Oh, I don't know, bro. And guess what? Click. They're going to another channel. Click.
Now, I will say that there is an exception to this rule.
Okay.
Because there are some people that can get away with it depending on how you present it. So, for example, I'm going to go ahead and do a shout out to Lucagen because I've been watching her videos for many years.
Lucagen? Sorry.
Yeah, she's legit. So anyway, there are certain games that she does on her YouTube channel that she does blind. But that's the thing. She prepares you for it. I'm doing this game blind. I've never played it before, but we're going to have fun with it. She has a very big fan base. They know that she's silly, kooky, crazy, and likes to have fun. So you're expecting for stupid, kooky, crazy things to happen, and it's entertaining because of that.
Right.
And not only is she doing that, but she's allowing her audience to provide feedback from time to time as far as, okay, how do you think I should do this? However, no spoilers kind of a thing, So there is a way to do it, but you have to advertise, you have to prepare properly, and be entertaining with it. Don't just say, well, I'm going to be the first one to do something, and, and make myself look like an idiot. Because even when she plays a game blind, it's not like a brand new game. It's a game that's been out for a while anyway. So it's not like, she's trying to be the first to do anything. She's just having fun because that's just the kind of person she is. And that's one of the things that's made her very popular. So there's a way to do it. But what the other person was doing, that was totally the wrong way. But it's how you present it if you're going to do it that way. Now, as far as the videos you see me do on YouTube, these are games that I've been playing for a long time, so, I know what I'm doing. Now, there are sometimes, like, I'll see a new hero, and I'll give, like, a first impression And of course, my first impressions may not be always the best because apparently they're new, and I admit that to you guys. But overall, I have a better enough understanding of the game to be able to give an idea. Okay, this person might be broken because of what I'm seeing here, and you kind of know about this because you actually commented on one of my videos.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because I was talking about a new hero in Seven Knights who I think is going to be ridiculously fantastic.
I think he's gonna be OP. I think
he is.
I think he's gonna be. I think he's okay. Like, pretty much, this character makes me want to get back into this game. I gotta have this character.
He's really, really cool. He really is. Like, I actually got him and got him powered up fairly decent. So I'm going to be testing him soon. But yeah, really, really hyped about it. And that was actually one of the videos I did last week. That was also a good video that I didn't mention. But
yeah,
and
okay. And since we're there, and I know I said we're gonna end it, but I gotta ask you a question because this is something I gotta ask you lively instead of asking you during a comment. What? Okay, so you saw my opinion about the Tower of Abyss. Okay.
Yeah.
So what? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I mean,
I had to really think about that because, as far as the game itself, once you reach a certain level, you have access to do everything. So for some of the newer players, it's hard to appreciate certain modes that you're not able to play.
Right. Exactly.
And so I actually saw where you were coming from, but at the same time, for anyone who's at that level, you would understand why I missed that game mode, because not only was it just a new thing that was really cool, but it was a really good way to get resources that are otherwise harder to get. And that's part of why I'm actually sad that it's going. Now, they are going to be supposedly replacing it with something else, but it better be good, because I seriously think that was a really good mode. It is unfortunate that if you're not a certain level, you can't play it. And that's really how the game is.
Right.
Like, you can't do every game mode right off the bat. You have to actually play the game long enough to earn certain things. You can't even join a guild till you're a certain level as well. And that's the same thing in a lot of other mobile RPGs. So that's a normal thing.
I'm going to put it like this. That's the same thing in a lot of good games, because Overwatch is the same way. You cannot play competitive. You cannot play in the competitive season until you're level 25 or higher.
Right. So it makes sure that you are actually a player before actually allowing you to just do everything you want.
Right.
So it caters to the people who actually play the game, and I appreciate that.
Okay, so I am sad because I never got to play it. I figured that I was gonna eventually be able to play it because I knew once school started I was gonna possibly get back into it. But I never uninstalled it. But that says nothing because I never uninstall anything. Hence the Candy Crush. But anyway, so my question is to you, because I want to see if you got the same answer as me. If you could get if you could get blah 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 blah, if you could get rid of any game mode in that game, what would you get rid of?
If I was to get rid of any game mode in Seven Knights specifically?
Yep.
Ugh.
Because let's look at it like this. Like, they had to get rid of something. Apparently, they had to get rid of something. They needed something fresh. So, if you were the maker of Seven Knights, what game mode would you get rid of? I already know which game mode I'd get rid of.
But okay, well, I wouldn't get rid of Arena because, that's PvP.
Right.
That's like kind of the core of every RPG. You have to have a PvP kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get rid of Guild War only because they actually do it better than most games, including Heroes Cards.
I would agree.
Learn from.
I would agree.
The only thing that I could see potentially getting rid of is Raid.
Go ahead.
And part of the reason is that they actually made it worse when they updated it. That's the main reason. The idea of Raid was a good idea, but they recently completely changed it to where, you have to beat a certain qualification to even summon it now. And it's just awkward, and you don't get to do it as often as you used to, so it's harder to gain the resources. It really overcomplicated everything. So because of that terrible update, in my opinion, I would get rid of Raid instead.
That's what I was going at, too, because when I was playing Raid, and I was, because you had to get Raid, you have to play Raid sometimes to get certain stuff, but when I was doing the Raid, the Raid was, probably the most boring part. To me, it was boring.
Okay.
There's some skill to the other part, the Castle Rush. There's some, not saying there's no skill to raid, because there is skill to raid, but I don't know. I just felt too repetitive, I guess. I don't know. Just for some reason I just didn't like it and it was boring to me.
And I'll be honest with you, before the biggest update, they actually cleaned it up a bit because they had two versions. They had your standard raid where you could fight like the level 99s and actually challenge your teams and all that stuff. And they had another one called Awakening Raid where basically you had a hero that you could choose that would power up everybody, and then you could easily get of it by fighting level ones all the way up to whatever you max out to. That was a great idea because it made it easier for you to do stuff, and you had to be forced to fight like the bigger ones that you couldn't kill. So like that was great. But when they updated it to try to combine the idea, it actually made it worse in my opinion. And that's why they should have got rid of that instead of Temple of the Abyss, or Tower of the Abyss. What made Tower of the Abyss so good is one, it rewarded people who used multiple characters. People who took the time to unlock every single character got to take advantage of this, because the way that it worked is you picked X amount of people to beat a certain level in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
And after you use that character, you can't use them again for like 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
So you need other characters to use.
So
if you're the person that collected a bunch of people, I can just throw different people in every day, assuming that I have the right people, and I can keep going through the tower. And that was great.
Yeah, that's cool. But here's my next question. Wasn't there already a tower before, and didn't that Tower of Abyss replace that tower?
Nope. No, there is another tower, but it was not a replacement. You're talking about the Celestial Tower, which was one of the original game modes.
Yeah.
The way Celestial Tower works is that you literally it's basically a super challenge that always stays the way it is, and it just gets more difficult as it gets up there. And you get specific rewards for getting to specific numbers. Like you get like 1 million gold if you beat like 120 something. You get 300 rupees for, they have specific goals for specific scenarios. And then you can use any hero you want at any time. So there's no limitation. You just have to be able to beat it, and it's more difficult. Tower of the Abyss is more the kind of like Crusade and Heroes Charge, where you use certain people, but then afterwards you have to wait and use somebody else, kind of a thing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it is a little bit different. The only thing that makes it sound the same is because they both have the word tower in it, but they are two separate things.
Okay. So what do you think they're gonna replace it with?
Well, see, that's the thing. They haven't even really given a hint, because a lot of the game modes that came out were stuff that were currently locked, but you used to see the name of it, like World Boss, things like that. And honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of World Boss either, now that I think about it. I would say they could have gotten rid of that too.
What's up, Angela? Yeah, World Boss was kind of lame.
Because that was kind of similar to Raid, really. It was the same thing as Raid, except for you had to fight different people.
It was the one.
So they could have just got rid of that altogether.
That was the three-headed dragon, right? Or the white dragon?
Yeah, it was. There's a three-headed dragon, or drake or whatever. There's also like some guy that has an empire of ships shooting you with cannonballs, and then there's like another thing. I forgot what it's called, but there's like 3 or 4 different like bosses that they throw at you at different times that you have to try to beat. As a matter of fact, regular Raid could have been replaced with that, or vice versa. You know what I mean? And that would have made one better than the other. But the fact that they have both is kind of, redundant. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, they could have got rid of that too.
And to elaborate on that comment, with the guy that was talking about the other region server, you're a dork to think that it's the same thing. You need to early podcast. I see. Well, I know you haven't been here in a while, but OG's schedule changed, so we're now doing the podcast in the mornings. I actually, if you check your emails, I actually emailed all my subs and let them know that the podcast was changing into the mornings. I'm gonna be starting once I move. Well, right before I move, I'm going to start emailing all my subs once a month or once a week. I will be emailing you guys to let you guys know, hey, this is how many weeks I'm going to be out. If you choose to support me still, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. But that's what I do. Basically, Twitch has this thing to where, which is really cool. Right where your revenue is for those that are streamers, you go right underneath your revenue gauge, and then it shows you how many subs you have. They have a thing where it says email your sub list or send you your sub list. If you have them send you your sub list, it shows you who subbed to you, what up, blah blah blah. And then if you have email your sub list, basically you can write one email and it emails all your subs at one time.
That's cool.
I do utilize that. Do you play in the evening now, or is that just all for the day on Wednesday? Tonight, okay, so because my wife is in Austin, tonight I will be streaming. But normally during the day, on the Wednesday day, normally I would not do a second stream, only because I use the time to utilize to actually better upkeep the stream and to better upkeep me and to do things that I need to do. But for this evening, I will be doing a second stream like I did last night. I may go even longer than last night because my wife has a meeting at 8 o'clock meeting at her new position. So yeah, I will probably be streaming probably until I want to say midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So, but I already promised you PlayStation guys that it's going to be on the PlayStation. So if you want to play with me tonight, let's get on tonight. Let's do it. Let's get it. More likely, it's going to be starting right when my daughter goes to sleep, which is at 8 o'clock, and stuff like that. Also, just a little heads up for you people that are like the analytics on my channel. We are at 2,300 followers now.
Nice.
So we gained over 100 followers yesterday, which is pretty freaking amazeballs. Things are really looking good for the channel. Things is looking awesome. You know, I don't care about the viewers, numbers, and all that stuff. It is what it is. But you guys have been awesome. Sorry, Angela, you came in like right towards the end. I apologize. We're getting ready to end here. We were just asking a few questions. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm thinking about getting back into that game only because, like I said, I have the time now. Well, that and Yu-Gi-Oh! I still gotta look at the hype that you were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! But apparently from the title, there's new cards, new heroes. So I'm gonna have to check.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil nothing, but yeah, I would say just watch the video, like, because I kind of had an idea what I was gonna do anyway, but something towards the end I wasn't even prepared for, and I was just like, wow, that's freaking awesome. So I just don't want to really spoil it. So just watch the video.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it here
after
the stream. After the stream, I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, 'cause I think I did the video after you had made that comment about my other game. So that's probably why you didn't notice it, because I hadn't posted it. Because I posted both that and my other Heroes Charge videos Sunday afternoon. So
nice.
Yeah.
And go ahead. Before we go out, I got one more analytic. I forgot, because this is how I'm not big on numbers. Just recently, yesterday as I looked, one of my how-to videos, actually how to stream on an i3 processor, just reached over 1,000 views on YouTube. So
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I actually had something similar happen too. I'm not sure if it was a Heroes Charge or a 7 Nights video, but one of those two videos actually has 1,900 views now, which completely surprised me. I was like, wait a minute, I have that many people seeing some of my stuff? Now, most of my videos don't really have that many views, but certain videos that I have for some reason get like tons and tons of views. I don't even know why.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
okay. Like, I saw that and I was like, 1,900? What the heck? Like, I'm not used to seeing those kind of numbers.
Me neither.
On my YouTube channel, you know what I mean? Because I don't even have that many. I think I have maybe 30 followers. Maybe. So like that's why I'm like, wow, how did this happen? But I guess certain things people are sharing, and I appreciate that. I actually do appreciate the fact that some people are actually sharing my videos with others, you know. And I appreciate some of the people that have been commenting, because even on my last Heroes Charge videos, I got a few comments already about a question that I had asked, and I'm gonna follow through with it too, because I asked them basically what hero they wanted me to push next in a certain section, and a lot of people have been pretty much commenting with the same hero. So I'm going to work on that one and talk about it once I'm done with them. So the fact that people are interacting is really, really, really cool. So I'm really, really happy about that. Keep it up. You know, it just further shows that you'll care about the content that I'm putting, which is motivation to keep going. So, you know.
Yep. And with that, I already found a person to raid. So with
Sweet.
that, go ahead and take us out, OG.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, G Generation X. No.
Proudly exist
um,
for you to know. Go ahead. Before we get banned.
But now, thank you everybody for listening to the videos. Those for you that are going to be watching on YouTube, we should have this posted, you know, soon as well. So today, there you go. So look forward to that. We're happy that you YouTube videos, video people watch them as well. I'm a YouTube guy myself, so I support you guys watching the podcast. So to everybody on Twitch and on YouTube, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we're going to be doing this again Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Central. And, you know, we're going to keep going. Now, we're going to have a few weeks of a break whenever, you know, Handy moves, but he'll let you guys know. And those that are on my YouTube channel, I'll be letting you guys know too, because I do sometimes advertise the podcast here and there. Not every week, because I'm not trying to spam every episode, but occasionally I'll bring it up.
He should. He should.
But,
you should be spam a lot.
Spam a lot.
Actually, your new name's gonna be the mobile gaming guy. The mobile gaming guy, right? That's what it was.
Something like that. I forgot. I haven't actually decided to change
we will rewind it and find out that's gonna be his new name. I can see it. I can see the little character, the little avatar, and everything. Sorry.
Nice. But yeah, but thanks for guys for watching the videos. We're gonna keep doing these for y'all, and we do it because it's fun. But the fact that you guys watch just makes it better. So just keep on watching. Handy Kill Cam is gonna be on Twitch making his live streams. I'm gonna be on YouTube doing my post commentary videos. Every Thursday for me, of course, is 7 Nights Thursdays for, you know, the new updates, since they're gracious enough to always give us something new to talk about. So I have a new episodic thing going. And of course, on Sunday, I'm probably going to be posting a few other game videos that I won't spoil until the day of. So you'll just have to check out my channel if you want to know. But other than that, you guys take it easy, and we'll go ahead and rate our next person.
And he forgot one more announcement. Don't forget tomorrow, because I'm a spammer. Tomorrow is the Able Gamers Charity Foundation. I will be over there at the Able Gamers. So remember, I will be over there. Able Gamers is doing some big things. Oh, that was the one thing I didn't get to talk about, but we'll talk about it next week. The whole thing about Special Olympics and the esports.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. But just to give you a little heads up, Special Olympics is making an esports team. I've already contacted the head person at esports. I'm getting involved. We're getting intertwined. Your boy Handy's going to be in there somewhere. Don't know where, how, but it's working. We're getting it together. As soon as I saw the opportunity, I jumped. Again, remember. Diesel Girl also said, have a good day, Handy Killcam at LG Crunksta. And everyone, yes, definitely, we will do. So remember, I will be over at Able Gamers Thursday. And we will be playing Overwatch. Hopefully my Diva patch will be coming in soon. I can't believe they still haven't done it. But with that said, we're gonna go ahead and raid DB, man. DB is playing the new Destiny. New game hype. Destiny 2 just came out. Actually, today. Today's the 6th. I believe today's the 6th.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, it's the 6th.
Yeah, Destiny just came out today. I know it's a game I need to get. You ain't telling nobody, but it's all about focus on moving right now. That's the main focus. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hosting DB. Let's see. Did it work? Yep. Handy raid.
Handy raid.
Alright. Let me do this, and then we will be off. Thank you again for all you people on YouTube, man. You guys have been awesome.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, we appreciate you guys watching as well.
Pretty much.
And we're sorry for the one video that didn't make it, but it just wouldn't have been a good quality video if
Nope.
it would have been just me talking to blank space for half the episode.
Yep. Well, maybe we'll include it in our special DVD when we're like 80.
For those who missed that episode.
For real. All right. We're gonna go ahead and get off. Laters.